Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
Wow, this is better than I thought.
So, do you want to continue?
Well, I have had other offers, you know.
Well, what can I do to keep you interested?
That's a loaded question. So, tell me more about yourself.
Well,
Live link. Call 489-3838.
Right, man.
What was
But
that? What
that was the
that?
Patty Duke. That Patty Duke theme song, man. I was raised on that Nick at Night.
That sounded. What was the show that was for?
The Patty Duke Show?
Yeah, was it called the Patty Duke Show?
The Patty Duke Show. Yeah, they did some. They were ahead of their time because it was like Patty Duke and then her cousin from far away, and it was both played by Patty Duke, and they had like different personalities, and that's what the show was basically about.
There you go. That's your Nick at Night moment with Steve.
When Patty adores me. But Patty like it because like they would like tone it down and make it jazzy for the even tempered Patty, and then the party, the wild one. But they're cousins, identical cousins, far away. One pan of matching toucan, singing as night and day.
Wow, Steve.
Yeah,
I mean, you said you like Nick at Night. I guess that's your bona fides right there. I believe you.
Yeah. Especially Nick at Night in the birth stages, man. Oh man, Make Room for Daddy, I Love Lucy, Mr. Ed,
Okay.
Flipper.
Flipper, I feel like was like they had that on during the day too, because I watched that with Dennis the Menace. But
Dennis the Menace, Lassie.
yeah, damn, dude, I'm just living those like depression era.
Hey, man.
Seems like back in my day. The fuck, Steve? In the 90s, not the fucking 60s, bro.
Back in my day, Patty Duke played two people, and they didn't have CGI or any of these fancy Adobe After Effects.
They put peanut butter in that horse's mouth and slapped it around till it did what they told it to.
They
We
flashed their
loved it.
nuts. They flashed their nuts in front of the horse, and that would get them all riled up. But
Weird.
today, man, when we're recording this, it's the 30th anniversary of Addams Family Values. And my question to you, Matthew, depending on your knowledge of the OG TV show, between the two, the movie from the 90s and the TV show, put together your dream Addams Family. Or is it all going to be from the movie?
See, I feel like for me, it is going to all be in the movie because, and maybe hot take here, Steve, you might disagree, but I feel like every character in the movie is a like perfected version of the show because the show's kind of kooky and the movie's like refined a little bit. It's not scary, but it's still goofy. But I mean, a Raul Julia next to Sean Astin's stepdad or whatever. I mean, come on, Steve.
John Astin, he's the OG Gomez, and he has a very important spot in terms of the lineage of Addams Family, man. He held it down. I would have to take most of the family from the movie, with a couple exceptions. I'm keeping Raul Julia, keeping Christina Ricci. She stays. I will sub out Morticia, Angelica Houston for the old school because she was just sexy.
Damn, though. Angelica in those sexy, dude.
She was, but like the old school Addams Family Morticia, man, you got to look at the back pages, man. In the back logs. But I think the Pugsley from the old school, because he looked dirtier and just he looked scary. Like he
Okay.
knows where some dead bodies are. And the one from the movie, he looked too friendly. He smiled too much and too chipper. Um,
Okay.
Christopher Lloyd is Uncle Fester. That stays. Um,
Tall
and I
guy.
think
Tall guy. I'll go to the Ridge.
Lurch.
Yeah, Lurch. Give him to the old.
Nobody,
We'll take him.
yeah, nobody beats that Lurch. Past, present, future.
Did they have the hand?
It.
Yeah, was that in the show?
Oh no, cousin. It was the hair.
Yeah.
Thing was in the show. Yeah.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the show was fun, and like you said, it was just like one of those things on. I always like associate it, and say what you will about it, but like they used to show this show Dark Shadows on Sci-Fi Channel and shit. They showed like older, like probably like English shows like that, and it always had like that kind of vibe to it. It was like goofy. It looked weird. And I don't know. I did like Gomez in the show is fun. He really is awesome, but it's Raul Julia, dude.
Raul Julia is that dude, man. R.I.P. But I also got to say, Carol Kane, she plays was it the grandma or the aunt in the movie?
I think it's a grandma.
I can't remember what it was a grandma. I got to take her too.
That batty old broad. I don't really remember. I mean, she was just kind of a background character in the movie, but yeah, they're both great. I mean, the show was so good that they had to they made a movie about it. I think they even made more movies. I think Rob Zombie weirdly made a movie about Addams Family that I haven't seen.
Or, is it the Munsters? I think it's the Munsters.
That might have been the Munsters. You might be right about that. But yeah, man, I mean, the Addams Family it's a cool thing. I think now I'd rather they just leave it alone. It's tired, but I mean, it was a black and white comedy. I guess you'd call it a sitcom. It's just a weird ass like cast.
And the show you might be thinking of is the Wednesday reboot. Like they did a Netflix original.
But Addams Family Values, Steve, so much fun. The camp shit. The one dude, the Jewish dude that's collecting all the murder cards and stuff. It's all good. Joan Cusack, she's great.
She tried to kill Uncle Fester, but shit, he flipped the script on her ass. Fucking flashing that light bulb in his mouth, like, bitch, you know who my family is. We built for this shit.
And they have that weird Gomez, the baby with the Gomez stash that's just kind of getting into wacky little adventures by himself.
Was his name Pubert?
I think so, dude. That's great. I forgot that.
Man.
That's amazing.
Well, if I had money, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd go downtown, buy a Ford truck or two. I'm crazy about a Ford truck.
During Ford Truck Month, we've got all kinds of trucks and all kinds of deals. Here's one of the best. Ford Ranger. Now with a special Truck Month lease rate, only $199 a month for 24 months. All that just $199 a month during Ford Truck Month.
I'm gonna buy me a Ford truck and cruise it up and down the road.
See your California Ford dealer now during Truck Month. Woo!
Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Tevin Campbell posters and your Tone Loc tapes, because this is for the G's and this is for the hustlers. This is for the hustlers. Now back to the G's. This is for the G's and this is for the hustlers. This is for the hustlers. Now back to the G's. Freeze. At ease. Now let me drop some more of them keys. It's 999 Trey, so please don't fade. A Snoop Dogg it. All right.
Can I just ask you, because it hit me hard, Steve, how do you feel about the news that Snoop Dogg is going to stop smoking weed?
I don't know what to think anymore. We're in our last days, Matt.
Is Willie Nelson still smoking weed, Steve? Because I mean,
still.
Okay, so we still got him, but damn, Snoop. I wonder why. Just a change.
I hope it's not health reasons. I've seen his social media post, and he's kind of vague. He's just kind of giving these like Maya Angelou 2-line parts of poem kind of deals, like, respect my privacy.
Hell yeah.
Like, I hope it's not health, man. Because like
sometimes you need
Snoop,
a reset, but I'm with you. I think he would be honest though. He's like sort of out there. If he was like having health things, maybe he just doesn't want to. But we all love Snoop. We just want the best for him. I just was caught off guard. I was like, this has to be some kind of like Onion article, But no.
That's what I thought. And it's not April. Like, I do know he said that he spoke to his family. So I mean, you talk to your family about something like this, man. And maybe he didn't say edibles. Maybe that'll be the next move. I don't know, but like the man's been smoking since we were kids and before that.
I mean, he hired a blunt roller. He was on after I just watched it because it was probably because of Off This News, but there was like a clip of him on some show with somebody else, and they were like, this guy has a guy following him around rolling blunts, and they were like, is this true? And he's like, yeah, man, if you're good at what you can do, like I'm gonna pay you to do it. And he's like, how much are you paying this person? He's like, it's like a $60,000 a year job just to roll Snoop blunts. I mean, this man's prolific.
The most popular.
And also he's done it though. Rapper. It's like if you get to the mountaintop, sometimes you just got to shift over and change it up. Like he's been living his whole life just in a cloud of weed smoke, and me too, a little to a lesser extent, but it was just shocking. I just all the best to Snoop.
Yeah,
for sure.
Uncle Snoop, we wish you the best, man. You can always come back if you can, though.
Mm-hmm.
But today, my friend, we're talking about all things November 23rd in the 90s. Yeah. Starting off in 1990, Family Matters is airing season 2, episode 11, Requiem for an Urkel. When a school bully threatens to physically harm anyone who dares to take Laura out on a date, Steve takes a stand for the girl he loves.
Steve, from one Steve to another. And this one's
standing on.
I guess we've got to preface this by saying, we have a pretty negative opinion of a one Laura Winslow. And I don't know. I'm interested in your take on if this redeems her in any way or not. But yeah, man. Steve Urkel, a gentleman and apparently a fighter, Steve. He's a lover and a fighter.
He stands on business. And, I've seen this before. I've seen every episode of the show. There are instances where she has a glimmer of decency in her, and this is one of those instances. Because overall, I think she's trash, like Zach Morris. But we start this episode off with Harriet and Rachel. They're talking about womanly stuff in Chicago, whatever. And then Mother Winslow comes out, and she's got a date. She's got a hot date with Fletcher. And the girls want her to spill the tea. Like, tell us more about this Fletcher. Ooh. Well, he's Kane's grandpa in Menace to Society, and he was in an episode of Sanford and Son one time. And lo and behold, Fletcher pops up, and don't tell Carl.
He don't like it when I knock boots. She tells him not to even wait. She's like, don't wait up, girls. Granny gonna get some tonight. And Fletcher's the man's a gentleman, Steve, just like Steve Urkel. This man comes in he even had, I wish I ever laid this pimp of a line down. It's kind of stereotypical, but a rose for a rose. As an old man, that's just pussy, just gush, if that's even possible for Granny at this point, Steve.
Hey, man, even if it don't work, her mouth still does. Hey-yo! Oh, Estelle, my belle. And we cue that classic theme song, man. And Harriet, she wants to talk to Laura about this school dance that she just dropped on her lap. And she's like, oh, so who you gonna take out? Well, I want to take out this guy named Greg, and he is like a Greek god. Oh my God. And he's got a moped. She's like, well, tell Apollo to drop your ass off by 11.
Yeah, the fact she gets that late of a time, she's not into that. But then Urkel comes in, Steve. This is confusing because I've got Steve Urkel. I'm talking to a Steve, but Urkel comes in, Steve, and he's been waiting for a call from a one Laura Winslow, because this isn't just any kind of dance, Steve. This is what's called a Sadie Hawkins, which the girls ask the guys out. So he's just been waiting. He's like, Laura, this is the only person I want to call from. He shows up. He's like, where's it at? And she's like, oh, you thought I was going to ask you out, Steve? No. Greg, his hot ass, that's who I want. You can see Steve, like, his heartbreak. It's like that episode of The Simpsons with Ralph.
You
You
in
can
slow
just see
motion.
it, you know?
Just oh.
And this is where I
Just
say, how dare you, Laura? You know what his deal is. At least, like, hide it. Don't just be like, oh, your dreams?
yeah.
You know, but we'll see, Steve. We'll see.
The man had his cousin's horse trailer all set up and everything. And he tells her, like, hey, I hope you have a good time with Greg. But if it doesn't work out, if he turns you down, I got that horse trailer ready.
Little bit of that dick too, Laura. What's up? Granny, you anything like your grandma?
She get it from her grandma. And
what a sweetie, though. He gets rejected and is like, listen, Laura, inevitably when this guy leaves your ass, I'll be waiting for you with a horse trailer. I don't even know what that means, but
right next door. And back at the school, we see the school bully, Willie Fluffner, played by Lorenz Tate. This is like a menace to society crossbreed episode because we got Kane's grandpa and we got O-Dog. And we're introduced to Waldo, who has a name and he has his first line on this show.
Say his name, Steve. It's Waldo.
Waldo, Geraldo, Faldo. And they're going to Urkel's locker. And Waldo's like, what you gonna do, Willie? And that just will never not be funny to me. The way he says it, just so naively. What you gonna do, Willie? I'm gonna trash Urkel's locker. Why you gonna do that, Willie? Because it's Tuesday.
God
again?
Damn. God damn, Willie. Willie. God, what a weird name for a kid, though. It's like an old
especially
man
if he's
name.
a bully.
Yeah, Willie. But then, Urkel is obviously 2 steps ahead of any bully. His locker's tamper-proof. He's got a fucking security
locker
system
alarm
on deck. Yeah. He comes and shuts it down. And this is where I love Steve Urkel, and maybe it's not realistic. This nerd, this is getting bullied. He's like, hey, Willie. He just stands right up to the guy. Yeah, he doesn't
pulls up on him.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I know you did this shit. I got a camera in there too.
And like, if anybody saw this man do anything to my locker, please stand up now. And they don't want any smoke with Willie or Waldo. They're just like, oh, shit.
I gotta go to class.
And, we also see Laura ask Greg out and he turns her down. And we find out the reason he turned her down is because that Willie, he put the note out to any and everyone who wants to take her out on the dance to, hey, man, be prepared because you might be breathing out your ears.
So does Willie want to get with Laura, or because he says he only wants Steve? Is it to fuck with Steve, or?
I think he likes Laura and she might have turned him down. So it's like, all right, well, if you're not going to go to the dance with me, I want you to have a miserable life. I want you to go to the dance with the school nerd so you can get laughed at, bitch.
Turn me down, bitch. But Greg's intimidated, which I don't get because he looks like fucking, he's got about 50 pounds on Lorenz Tate, but he's intimidated. I guess fucking well, we see later, Willie's got hands, or at least so we think. But he ain't letting Laura get these dates, Steve. And now Laura just feels, she got completely rejected, like she's done to Steve day after day for most of their lives. So a little karma there, Steve.
And Steve is appalled. He pulls up on Willie again. Like, dude, I've heard of some of the lowest things in my life, but forcing Laura to go to the dance with me is just plain despicable.
Willie can't believe it. But then what I couldn't believe, Steve, is that Steve not only takes it to Willie again face to face, but he goes into some kind of colonial duel scenario where he has gloves on, which I don't really understand, but he removes one and just straight 5 fingers to the face slaps Willie right to the kisser. Why did he have the glove on now that I'm thinking of it?
He had on mittens because it's November in Chicago, Matt.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he takes one off and slaps him with it. He's like, man, he just slapped me with a mitten. Be careful. he's got another one. That's what Waldo said. And yeah, Urkel, you're dead meat. And then some coach, phys ed teacher guy, John Henline motherfucker comes in like, all right, hold up. If y'all want to put them Dukes together, let's sanction this match.
Well, Urkel like
so,
jumps on Willie's back too. That's what I was gonna say. He takes it. He goes physical even before Willie does.
yeah.
So he's sick of being bullied. But you're right. This coach steps in, and I love this. Hey guys, no fighting here. But you guys want to sanction a match? I'll set up the time for you guys to go fuck each other up in a gym this weekend. Whatever. Come on, dude. What the fuck? What's going on in Chicago, Steve?
I mean, it's that or the alternative of guns, man, over there in Cabrini Greens. But yeah,
Live to fight another
now,
day.
put the gun down, son. And Urkel, he'll be there with bells on. Waldo's like, he can wear bells, but Carl, man, being the good neighbor that he is, the ultimate TV dad, he's willing to help Steve train for this boxing match. And he's telling him about the different punches. There's the jab, and as he's explaining it to him, he catches one right in the kisser.
Urkel's got a jab down pat, Steve. I mean, he's definitely he's got that one down. But I do like that. Carl's like, you know what? Maybe you should think about running instead of fighting, Steve. And he does. I mean, he kind of sets the tone for the fight anyway, and is like, show him that Urkel shuffle, because I guess Urkel's got them. He's got them feet, Steve. He's got that rhythm.
Yeah. And back to Mother Estelle Winslow. She returns home for her date, and her and Fletcher, they're having a talk and a good night kiss.
Doing more than that, yeah. Good night makeout, Steve.
Yeah, taste some of that Budissa on his lips. And Carl is there to witness all of that. Like, man, what the is going on right now? You're a mom. You a grandma. What you doing out here dating and talking to other men who aren't my daddy?
Touching on their penises and touching on their booty holes and whatnot, mama. He cock blocks his mom, Steve.
Yeah, Carl's a hater, but I get it though. I never liked any of the guys my mom dated. And with Carl,
especially
though,
when they're that old, I feel like that's even weirder. Where you're just like, come on, mom, like, are you done with this?
Make some cookies, knit some like blankets.
You can't be jacking dicks off at this age. You're gonna give yourself carpal tunnel, lady.
Yeah, you got arthritis anyway. Shit.
But Fletcher, he's like, I like Carl's also. He like gets real close to his mom. He's like, also, I'm a cop. He just says it flat out. There's no fucking smoothing that one over. He's just like, look, I'll run your fucking name, bitch. You got any
Die Hard.
flowers?
You seen that? Yeah.
Remember the Nakatomi Plaza shit that went down? That was me, bitch.
Act up if you want to, Fletcher. Who the fuck baby boomer name?
And is this where his mom, like, after Fletcher leaves, Carl's like, moms aren't supposed to do that. And his mom's like, baby, I want to just have some fun. It's basically that. Like, I need to enjoy my life, which includes me and Fletcher getting doing a 69.
Mama got to have a life too. And besides, that's how you were made, motherfucker. So now we're at the fight. And the Iron Man Urkel, he's got a makeshift fucking, I don't know, Macho Man robe that was made in a matter of a day. That Mother Winslow just put together. Like, she's a magician with the fucking with the wolves and whatnot. But
crocheting that shit.
Yeah.
I like also that basically they've not only sanctioned a fight, but the whole school's there. Like, they've set this up. I feel like the gym teacher would be brought up in some kind of charge, because you're like, you just said, what are you betting on this? Accepting fucking money on this shit?
Get side bets and shit. Yeah. And Fletcher's there, man. He's there, like, he's trying to prove, like, hey, man, I like her. I'm gonna go to this random kid's unsanctioned boxing match.
His buddy at the retirement home's like, Fletcher, where are you going, man? He's like, man, this lady I'm trying to dig down, I gotta go watch some nerd fight, some shit. Whatever, man. She gave me roadhead last night. You know what that feels like? I haven't gotten roadhead since I was in a Model T, motherfucker.
especially with the teeth out. Man, don't talk to me unless you know what that man. Trying to see what that be like.
And in this time, while everybody's waiting for this fight to go down, also Laura's sitting there, and the guy that she wanted to go out with, what's his name?
Greg.
Greg's like, hey, you okay, Laura? And Laura straight up is like, I'm kind of pissed off that there's no like stand-up dudes here other than Steve Urkel. So
Yeah.
at least she's admitting that much out loud.
Get away from me, pussy. That's basically what she said to him. Because he's trying to like backdoor, like, hey, I still got a shot, right? You still want to get your whole ass out of here, man. So like the match starts and Urkel is with the shits. He runs right into Willie and his hands, and he's already down. But before the 10 count happens, he gets back up because he's got a spine, goddammit. And Carl, he suggests that, hey, man, work your feet. And he goes into the Urkel shuffle.
And he's doing it, Steve. He's a pugilist at this point. I mean, all he needed was this, and some fancy footwork, but inevitably he starts getting full of himself because it's working so well. And then he starts like moonwalking and shit. And he basically moonwalks into like a right hook, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, man. That Money Mayweather defense mechanism, man, it was working until he got too cocky. Yeah, man. And he gets sideswiped right to the face. And he gets it back up, though. This is what I love about Erg. He gets back up and he's like, nah, man, I ain't no punk like Greg. So he talks his shit and he gets knocked out again. And he's on the ropes, hops back up, gets knocked out again on the ropes, gets back up, and he just lays him out.
I mean, it's a straight up like adult ass whooping at that point because he's just getting up to get straight haymakered again. And I mean, we're just watching Urkel get physically dismantled at that. I mean, Carl's like, don't get up, man. He's the opposite of that black dude in Rocky's corner. He's just telling him to just stop. But love conquers all, Steve. Urkel, he's not going to let this dude punk his ass out.
And now neither is the school. I feel like they were inspired by Steve Urkel because now Greg has the balls from the stands, of course, and a safe distance. Hey, Willie, if you beat up Urkel, then you got to fight me. And one by one, the student congregation says, and then me too, and then me too, and me too. And so now Willie has to fight the whole school if he beats up Urkel. What you gonna do now, Willie?
Run.
Run. I think I'm gonna run too, Willie. Me too.
Yeah, Waldo has like a Bubba Gump vibe right now.
That's yeah. Which he will he evolves somewhat as the seasons progress. But yeah, these early stages of Waldo are effing hilarious, man.
Well, and I mean, now he's gone, Steve. Now Willie's gone, and by default, Urkel wins this fucking match. He's 1-0. He's a 1-0 amateur boxer. I mean, I don't know what the punch count is. That ain't going to look good, but he's done it, Steven. He's once again just punked out a bully in front of the school. I don't know how this guy's not getting pussy rained on him because he did it. He's doing this standing up to bullies constantly. I love this.
A bully that everyone was afraid of. But he does get Laura. He doesn't get showered in pussy, but he gets Laura for the end of this episode. And then by the next episode, she wants nothing to do with him.
Well, I do because Greg walks up yet again, shooting a third shot at this point, basically. And he's like, look, maybe now, because I stood up. And she's like, nah, I'm going to go to the dance with my champion. And I do like that. That's got to feel pretty good.
There you go. There's some grace for Laura. There, that shred of decency. But yeah, man, I love the Urkel centric. Well, most of these seasons of Family Matters will be Urkel centric as time progresses, man. But like the early seasons,
that season like 2 and 3, 1 through like 3, where he gained steam and got to like Bart Simpson level fame. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, this is season 2, and we're 11 episodes in, and it's just crispy with that Urkel. I mean, they know what they got now.
We haven't hit the Urkel dance quite yet. But somebody who probably didn't watch this episode of Family Matters Requiem for Urkel, man,
Who, Steve?
probably British novelist, poet, and screenwriter Roald Dahl passed away at the age of 74 of a rare cancer of blood, myeloplastic syndrome in Oxford.
Oh wow, fellow blood cancer person. That stinks.
And I mean, a lot of movies spun off of his work, man. James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, The Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox, The BFG, The Twits, Marvelous Medicine, Danny the Champion of the World. And his works for older audiences were Tales of the Unexpected, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, and 6 more.
Dude, I gotta say, James and the Giant Peach, also the movie, that's a great, I feel like almost groundbreaking movie because that animation style that they did with like, I feel like it was a kind of claymation-ish. So good.
Yeah.
And James and the Giant Peach, you check it. If you haven't seen that, that's I don't know if it's a unheard of movie, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about it in terms of like animation. It's really good.
And I believe that was a Tim Burton, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. It's kind of got like that Coraline vibe. It's not as like dark, but it's that first step. I think it is. I think it is Tim Burton, but it's fucking good.
Produced by Tim Burton, directed by Henry Selick.
Okay, Tim Burton. Yeah. What's up, Tim Burton?
Tim Burton. And November 23rd, 1991, Evander Holyfield TKO's Bert Cooper in 7 for the heavyweight boxing title. And, we just talked about him last week beating Iron Mike in 96, I believe. And, at this point, obviously, he still has hair. This is young, viral.
He's still rocking Evander. That fucking, he got a little bit of hair on the head. He's still fucking big as fuck, too.
Still, like, I was about to say juiced, but boxers don't do that. At least this boxer didn't, man. That's all natural, man. The heavy hitter, man, from Georgia.
The real deal, Steve.
Real deal. And one of my favorite like Sega Genesis games of all time. I feel like that was the first boxing game for me, I think, that where you could create your own career. Like you can start off as a generic player. If I'm not mistaken, you can like create your own name. I don't know. That might have been too next level, but I do remember you can like create your own career, your own boxer. And that was Real Deal Holyfield, man. Don't think I've ever beat Holyfield.
No, I only beat Mike Tyson's Punch Out like once in my life, honestly.
Man, that's a bucket list item for me, man. But somebody who probably didn't watch, never.
Sorry,
that's
crazy.
But that's a bucket list item along with actually Evander Holyfield, Real Deal Holyfield. That's another one, and Paperboy, random as fuck. But I want to beat that fucking game.
Can you beat that game?
It's possible, yes.
Yeah, I mean that's one where I killed controllers out of that game. That game is fucking frustrating, dude.
It is, dude. That fucking little ass mailbox. I know I got it in that fucking slot.
I put it through the window, okay? That's how you get subscribers, okay? That's how you add. I don't get it, but that's how you do it. So what the fuck?
Yeah, that creates an interest, and then they get on the phone, and then the telemarketer will talk.
Yeah, I like the reality of that, where somebody's like comes into their house, like, "Yo, what the fuck? Is that a newspaper? Oh wow, I need to subscribe. This is really good journalism. I'm gonna subscribe to this. There's actually 3 in every. There's 1 in every window. He broke every window. This has to be a good newspaper.
Gotta be. We're important. But somebody who probably didn't watch Evander Holyfield get that TKO in 1991 is probably Freddie Mercury, because at 45, he confirms he has AIDS and dies the next day.
Damn.
Yeah, he held it to himself for a good while, man, because that's not easy news to let the world know about, and especially when you're a celebrity of this caliber, making out those anthems and people following your band all across the world. In 1991, man, like it still had a stigma to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say at that time that wasn't like something you just wanted to come out public with anyway.
Yeah,
that's why it was crazy when like Magic Johnson and shit did it too. Where it's just like, whoa, it was like a big news. But man, I didn't realize he said he had it, and then like literally just it was over with. It was just that far gone. That's crazy.
One of the greatest, and some people have an argument that he is the greatest front man of all time, man. I have a bias with Zach De La Rocha. I'm a new metal 90s kid, and I was a teenager when all of that was going on, and that shit rocks to me. But Queen and Freddie Mercury, they rock as well, nonetheless, man.
Yeah, and as far as
Mama,
frontmen goes, that's you can't. It's really hard to beat because I mean, I didn't even know who Queen was, but like through like Wayne's World and shit,
Wayne's World.
I knew Bohemian Rhapsody front to back.
And that movie reintroduced people to that. Like that song wasn't even popular until that movie. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
no, it is crazy. What a, it's wild, man. The guy's just gone, but still famous. I mean, they're making movies about him. They just made a movie
Yeah.
about them recently that was pretty good. So shout out
A
to
couple years
fucking
ago.
Queen, dude.
RIP, man. In 1992, the first smartphone, the IBM Simon, is introduced at Comdex in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I didn't know anything about this. And it's crazy to think that something like this existed at this time. Um,
Man, I wonder how much that
it's
thing cost.
it's similar to the Zach Morris, man, but this shit, it had like a somewhat of a PDA capability. The battery would last only for an hour, but you were able to send faxes, emails, and make cellular pages.
This it was always this kind of technology. I remember when I saw somebody with a car phone. I met somebody whose dad had one of those, and I was just like, "This is incredible. This person is like a, they must be a trillionaire." I like this looks crazy because it has like a touch screen on it, which
Yeah.
91, that's fucking crazy.
Now this is 92, but still,
Oh,
this is early
okay.
90s. And like, yeah, my first phone, I didn't get until like what, 2004, 2003, and it was a Nokia. Didn't have anything on the screen.
Yeah, my shit had it showed the numbers that you were dialing. That's it. There was
That's
no
it, man.
text, there was no other bullshit to it. You could just make a call and you had to pull a little antenna out of it, I think, to do it. Yeah.
And
Look at IBM though. It's crazy that they're not the ones leading cell phone technology though. They were like the first there, but fell off, dude. IBM, you fucking chuds.
pour out a little liquor. But somebody who probably didn't get that that IBM phone in 1992 is probably American singer, songwriter, and actress Miley Cyrus, because she was born on November 23rd, 92, born Destiny Hope Cyrus in Franklin,
God,
Tennessee.
that just sounds like a strip. Destiny Hope Cyrus.
Well, you know who her dad is, so like that's
Yeah,
not a shocker.
but you know, there's times where I'm like, this is pretty cool. Sometimes I don't understand it. I'm old, but she came out of a vagina on that day, Steve. So
She did.
happy birthday, Miley. How do
And
you
if
feel
you
about
break her
Miley? Do you
heart,
think she's sexy, or well, like, what's your opinion of her?
when she does this kind of shit, yeah, I like that. Freaky white girl. She
Uh,
can get bust down in the back of a trailer for sure. She ain't bad looking. Is she Megan Fox? Is she Pamela? No, but you know, you add the freak factor, and that adds a couple points to the rating.
well, she's definitely chief and Steve. She's definitely down to have smoke a bowl or two.
Yeah, living that LA life, I'm sure, man. In 1993, various artists released the Beavis and Butthead Experience.
God, what was this? Because I'm thinking the movie soundtrack, but that was not this.
That was Beavis and Butthead Do America. This was like a comedy album because they had actual artists create like original songs for this compilation, and they would have interludes like the one with Anthrax. They basically started off with Beavis and Butthead meeting Anthrax outside of their tour bus, and like the guys, Scott Ian and the rest of the guys from Anthrax, they're interacting with them, and then they would go into the song. But one of the releases was I Got You Babe. That was the actual like single off of this, and they remade the Cher and Sonny Bono song. And I remember the video for this. It would be on MTV and the box and stuff like that, man. But a song that I actually added to the playlist was Come to Butthead.
Oh, come a little closer.
I would
Come
I would
closer to my love. I do remember that shit.
hey baby. I would like do stuff that sucks. for your butt. I would like do homework for your butt.
Come a little closer.
Come to Butthead. It's worth a listen. So I mean, you remember some of it, man. It's got its moments. It starts off with Nirvana. I hate myself and want to die.
My friend definitely had this. Somebody had this because this was like in rotation with me and a couple buddies. I had the Jerky Boys and the Adam Sandlers. Somebody else brought this to the table. I love that though. Just like a nice, see the comedy album. Let's get back to like a nice sketch comedy or whatever you call this. Let's get back to that.
It seems like it's a thing of the past, man. Like even the popular comedians of today, like it's just Netflix. I got a Netflix special.
Podcast, Netflix. I mean, make a podcast that is that, you know, like instead of doing like conversation, do like sketches. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe that exists. I don't know. Maybe I'm not checking out the right podcast networks.
And if they are existing, they're just not good enough. But also in 1990, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Calvin Brodus releases Doggy Style, his debut album, and God damn it, fuck, marry, kill. Hey, last week we talked about Home Alone, and I could not wait. I waited for months. It's like, is this the year? Is this the year? Yes, we get the day. I was chomping at the bits to talk about Home Alone. Same thing with this album, Matt. Is this the year? 93, 92. Yes.
This was 93. This was 93.
This was 93.
I remember this because this was one of the bright spots of me moving to Ohio. Somehow I got my hands on this. And like the videos that came out of this too, like that's the first time I had MTV. So this was like my first real exposure to like rap in general. But man, dude, we talked about Chronic 2001 recently, but this,
man,
this,
if you have to pick 4 like must-haves of 90s hip-hop albums, this would be on most people's Mount Rushmore, man. Like I said, this has introduced us to Snoop as a solo artist, and in terms of being the most sought after debut, not just in hip-hop, but in music. This is one of the most sought after debuts in the history of music, man. Whether it's hip-hop or rock or metal, it didn't matter, man, because it was really the Chronic that introduced us to Snoop Dogg. And we fell in love with the Chronic. And we found out this guy, he signed a Death Row and he's going to have his own album. Oh my God, man. One of the first albums, I had to learn every lyric. I had to know all the words from the skits. If you're licking nuts, W balls. Everybody's got to hear shit on W balls, W balls, W balls.
WBUZ. Yeah, dude, I don't know of somebody that had this solidified of like a persona immediately. Like it changed, but like he came out and other than being nervous on camera, which now seems insane. Like I remember the first, like when MTV went like visited him or like did an interview with him in LA and he couldn't even like look up and shit like that. But he just, you wanted to listen to it. You wanted to watch him. Like he had this cool, he was just fucking cool.
Like
to everyone.
He didn't come to the public. Like the public came to him, pause. Like you said, he was that cool. Like, man, we want more of this Calvin Brodus guy. Oh, he killed somebody or he's going to trial for murder? I hope not. I hope it wasn't him. I hope he stays out and makes more music.
Yeah.
But man, thank God.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, how many, I'm trying to go through the track list right now again, but like it's all bangers.
Everything. There's no skippers in this, man. And I'm sure, is this what introduced you to Nate Dogg or was it Regulators?
To be honest with, I think, no, I knew about him before Regulators because I'm thinking about when I heard Regulators for the first time. And it was definitely after I moved to Ohio. So for sure, this was it. And I mean, Gin and Juice, that was his first like video, wasn't it?
No, my name is, or what's my name? What's
Okay.
my name was his breakout. Snoop Dogg ain't
Yeah, you're right.
dope pound.
But I mean, this just like it was an astronomical
Yeah.
rise. Everything after that, just like other than he had some lulls and shit, but this guy's one of the most prolific entertainers of all time.
I says I'm 19. She says, stop lying. I says I am. Go ask your mother. And with your wrinkle pussy, I can be your lover. And then like the if the homies can't have none, that I don't even think that was made into a video or a single, but it's just that catchy and that popular of a song. When somebody starts off that first line from Nate Dogg, you already know what they're talking about. When I met you last night, baby, before you opened up your gap, I had a respect for your lady, but now I take it all back. Oh my goodness, man.
It's never, and I
Doggy
mean,
style.
I don't think you're ever going to get something like this again. It's just too oversaturated. The market's too oversaturated. Like this, we were being fed specific rappers and stuff and specific artists, and this guy caught in a way that, I mean, I don't really think, other than maybe like a Kendrick Lamar, I guess that maybe that, but even like people from the West Coast, like that came after the fact, like a Nipsey Hussle that became super famous. I don't think it
Yeah.
was like this. It took a long ass time for him to catch on. And I'm sure it took a long time for
Yeah.
Snoop to like figure it out in his own way. But I mean, as soon as I knew about him, he was like my favorite rapper. And then all the people around him and stuff, like Warren G and Nate Dogg and stuff, he just fucking one of the coolest dudes and groups of people.
Yeah, bro.
From the
Like, and
90s.
it introduced, like you brought up something else, man. It introduced us to the Dog Pound Click, Daz Dillinger, Corrupt, and Nate Dogg. You know, I think is it 312, whatever the area code for
213, hell yeah.
213, my bad. 213. That was like their group before Snoop linked up with Dre and all those guys, man. And like all of those guys have a presence on this album, which I love about this era of Death Row. Even if it's one artist album, man, you're going to get a fair representation, because even Lady of Rage, man, she was on this album. And at this point, bro, everybody on that label was crushing it. Everybody.
Oh man, dude. I need to get this. Like this is art that I need. It like I have all this like entertainment art, but this is one of the most like well-known album arts of all time too. Like this was
It
a
is.
poster on people's walls. I had this poster at one point. We all probably did. But it's isn't it crazy though? Like every aspect of this album, it's perfect. The art, the
Perfect,
actual
man.
album, the dude, there's no like there's no negative.
Like
I
none,
defy
man. Even the
you.
skits.
Yeah.
Like even this, like the skits are hilarious, man. And like I'm gonna get this picture to you before you edit it, but like I was such a big Snoop Dogg fan. This came out when we were in 5th grade. So for our class picture, I had a Snoop Dogg T-shirt from the local record store, and it's just a picture. It's a black shirt with Snoop Dogg's face. He's wearing a wool cap, and it's just his face. And like my buddy, that who I'm still friends with to this day, he's like, man, me and my aunt thought for a second Snoop Dogg was in the picture with us, because I'm like in the second or third row from the back, man, and it's just like me, and like you see a picture of Snoop, and he looks like he's in the row with us, man. I had that shirt, I
That's
had
awesome.
the doggy style hockey jersey that I wore for good luck. I wore the doggy style hockey jersey for good luck when I went into the spelling bee for Old Orchard for the school, not for my class. Like I won the preliminaries, and then I beat everyone in 6th grade, and then for the whole grade school of Old Orchard, it's like, man, you know what? To make this happen, I think Uncle Snoop need to be with me in spirit, and I won that motherfucker.
Damn. Steve with the power of Snoop at
Power
ease.
of Snoop.
Hey
Now let me drop
Steve.
some more of them keys. But yeah, man.
That's hilarious, dude. Now, Mr. Garrett, please spell indubitably. You're just like
I wish
rubbing
I
Snoop for good luck. Come on, Snoop. Come on, man.
I wish I remember the word that helped me win, man. We could do a whole episode on this album, but also in 1993, Metallica drops Live Shit, Binge and Purge. And this is for the Metallica purists because they're dropping all of their hits on this, man. Of course, live. You remember my buddy Louie, who was in the band with me back in the day. He was
Yeah,
a
hell
huge
yeah.
Metallica fan, and he was the only person I knew personally who had this shit.
Yeah, I knew some Metallica fans too, and I don't remember this one. I like Metallica, but I was just never like buying the shit that much.
Uh, like
I
Wu
bought
Tang
Load
Clan,
and Reload and shit like that, I think.
I did too. But for me, Metallica is like how Wu Tang Clan is for hip hop. Like they didn't create metal, but they perfected the shit.
Yeah. James
Yeah, yeah.
Hetfield.
Love it, man. But in 1993, also, Del the Funky Homo Sapien drops No Need for Alarm.
This is a guy who I didn't know about till college, and he's just like a very different kind of rapper. I always loved the Funko. I'm just gonna say Del because I'm too high to say his whole name.
Yeah, same. But like a fun fact about Del, he's actually cousins with Ice Cube, and Ice Cube was instrumental in his beginnings, man, as far as like, you know, helping him out with production and like kind of teaching him the lay of the land. And he he's an underground legend because I don't think he got his just due until the Gorillaz album came out. And you know, he had already been making albums before that, but like the Gorillaz project that brought him into the forefront to a national spotlight.
But if you dig deep, because that's how I found out who he was, and I think Jordan
Yeah.
actually like put me on to some of his albums and stuff when we were in college. But his flow is just different. I mean, the beats are like kind of echo that, but it's just a different
Yeah.
kind of rap. It's really cool. And but I mean, his shit in the Gorillas was dope as fuck. It was cool that he got in there, and I mean, that's still going on. I think.
Yeah. And like you said, man, a unique flow, a unique voice. Like one of the calling cards of rappers, the best ones, they sound like no one else. Like you can't mistake Tupac for anyone else. You can't mistake Jay-Z for anyone else. And it's like, even though he doesn't have that notoriety, no one sounds like Dell. Your voice is your calling card, especially if you're a rapper. That's your instrument. And you know, when you hear Dell, you immediately know that's Dell.
Yeah, for sure. I have definitely ditto because there's nothing, and it's just like the things he chooses to rap about too. Like whatever, it's just different. It's not like street rap or him talking about like dealing dope or some shit. It's like I don't even remember like what I could like say in context, but it just is like it's just all different. He's just a singular personality and something that's crazy to say now in rap. You'd think somebody would be like this, but I can't think of anybody even to this day.
Not in 93. It's either you were the commercial rapper or the gangster rapper. But in 1994, Junior premieres in theaters. As part of a fertility research project, a male scientist agrees to carry a pregnancy in his own body. Directed by Ivan Reitman, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, Emma Thompson, Frank Langella, and Pamela Reed.
I'd have to watch this again, Steve. I only seen this movie
No, you
once
don't.
at summer camp, and it freaked me out.
You don't have to watch it, man. Take my word, it fucking blows. I will say this though, Arnold Schwarzenegger, my favorite action star of all time. I don't think any other person could pull this off. And I didn't like the movie, but it like because it's Arnold, it made it like decent enough to make it through.
My nipples are sensitive right now. My
My body, my body, my choice.
I'm having cravings. Give me some peanut butter and pickle sandwiches, Danny. It's got Danny. See, this is a winning combination, though. That's the thing. Like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
it worked for fucking twins. Why is it gonna work here in this weird fucking situation where they're gonna have a fucking guy be pregnant? It gets startling when he's like about to have the kid, Steve. It gets weird. And my thing is, did he have a butt baby?
I don't think they covered that, or maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention because it's like he's not going to shoot him through his urethra Franklin.
Oh my god! It's shredding my urethra.
We'll call him Urethra Franklin, but I think, yeah, Danny DeVito, adding him to the mix, that's a familiar collaboration. It's like, all right, I'll stick around for this shit. I kind of wish I got my 2 hours back, but hey,
I mean, and it's got Ivan Reitman, another like person where it's like how you'd think like even with the weird premise it would work, but it's just something unsettling about it. Let's put it like that.
well, there was this point where he's wearing the wig, and he's dressed in like a dress and shit.
I'm just
It's just
worried
like,
about lactating at work. I need to breastfeed this kid.
uh,
Very weird.
third trimester. But also in 1994, A Low Down Dirty Shame premieres. An ex-cop, now a private detective, takes on the search for the millions stolen by a drug lord. Directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans, starring Keenan Ivory Wayans, Charles S. Dutton, Jada Pinkett, Sally Richardson, and Andrew Divoff.
And I remember this movie's name, but I don't remember this movie like completely though. This was like one of those like last Boy Scout joints where isn't it kind of on that same level? It's just like an action movie with some comedy in it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that. Add some Jada Pinkett. Like it's kind of like throw in some Scrappy Doo element to it, because I think Keenan Ivory Wayans, he's just kind of like pushing her off, like, don't get involved. This isn't your mess. This isn't, and she's just kind of like, oh, I want to get involved too. I can crack down the thieves and the murderers too. Like, no, stay in your lane. And that's been a common theme for Jada in real life and in video and movie. Stay in your lane, Jada. But despite it all, she gets involved, and they bring down the big drug heavy. I will say Sally Richardson is a unspoken 90s hottie.
Sally Richardson.
Sally Richardson, man.
I'm gonna have to take a look here. I don't remember okay, Sally. Angela in the movie. Sally Richardson Whitfield is a 30-year industry veteran, Steven. She's a looker. So yeah, now I remember this. The guy's Keenan Ivory Wayne's name in this is Shane, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think I was actually conflating this with the Martin Lawrence movie where he has a gun getting pointed at his dick on the cover. You know what I'm talking about.
Thin Line Between Love and Hate.
Yep, that.
A completely different movie.
I know, but for whatever reason, confusing the two. But was it good?
For that time standards, I thought it was good. It was decent.
Okay.
It's not, to me, a rewatchable classic. Keenan Ivory Wayans, he's fresh off of Living Color. I think he had just left that. So I think if you were a fan of Keenan and any of his projects, man, you wanted to watch. And at the time, I will say I had a crush for Jada Pinkett, like a lot of guys, because she was a hottie.
She was so sexy back in the day. And I bring it up, but in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, she's a main character, beautiful as all hell. I think that's why that was one of my first black girl crushes, one of them.
She's still not bad looking, but it's the interior.
We know too much now, though.
We know too much. We know too. Yeah.
Exactly.
And also in 94, The Page Master premieres. A cowardly boy who buries himself in accident statistics enters a library to escape a storm, only to be transformed into an animated illustration by the Page Master. He has to work through obstacles from classic books to return to real life. Directed by Joe Johnston and Maurice Hunt, starring Macaulay Culkin, Christopher Lloyd, Whoopi Goldberg, Patrick Stewart, Leonard Nimoy, Jim Cummings, Frank Welker, Ed Begley Jr., and Mel Harris.
Great movie, great kids movie. Macaulay still killing it. And this is one of the few like movies back in the day. Great video game tie-in too. Great Nintendo game.
Never played it.
Awesome.
Super Nintendo?
I think it was, yeah. I think it was. It was like a side scroller game. Like remember like the DuckTales? It was like all those games, like Mario and shit. But dude, Macaulay, and we get the nice little animation into it too. It's really fucking cool.
And once again, we're talking about Macaulay. Like, and as a Macaulay fan, I have never seen this movie. I think for this past week, I just didn't have the time. But it's on the list though, man, because I feel like I would be entertained.
I feel like Christopher Lloyd's in it too.
He is.
I think, yeah. And this movie, to me, I don't know if you remember this game, but there was a game called Dragon's Lair that was like an arcade game where you just had to like, it was like a movie that you just had to hit a button at the right time for something to happen. It's like a way old school game, but the animation in PageMaster had like it almost looked like that video game style. It was it was very cool. And it's a fantastic, I mean, there's dragons, there's all kinds of shit in it. Um, it's really fun. It was not one of my favorite movies as a kid, but it was one of those cool like kids animation movies that it wasn't like a Disney movie, you know, but it was still really fucking good.
And also in 1994, Survivor Series 94 is aired through pay-per-view via WWF, and it's at the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas. You got Gorilla Monsoon and Vince on the commentary. I actually, my grandmother ordered this pay-per-view, and I had some of my buddies come through. This is my first year in Toledo, and I remember the match between Bret Hart and Bob Backlund. It was a no disqualification, throw in the towel match. And Bob Backlund, he had Bret Hart in the crossface chicken wing for like, it seemed like ages. And Owen Hart is there. British Bulldog is in Bret's corner. And Owen Hart, he like talks Helen and Stu to come out. They're at ringside, and he's like, "Oh, look at him! Look what they're doing to my brother! Come on, come on, come on!" So Helen, she's had enough of this. She takes the towel and throws it in, and that's how Bob Backlund became champion.
Bobby Backs. I know Bob Backlund really freaked me out. I didn't like Bob Backlund.
Creepy old
like
man
if
vibes.
Opie Cunningham did like fucking roids and really just took a left turn, you know?
Or Howdy Doody.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I just saw a video of him where like he got like there was a match where I forget who it was, but he started whooping some dude's ass, I think. Like for real in a match, or he went stiff, I guess.
That was his thing. Yeah, man. Because he would go crazy. This is before Ken Shamrock. And he was known as like the good all-American guy. And so like around this time, he would just snap on motherfuckers and just like throw that crossface chicken wing on somebody and just be like, ah!
And he always had like a fucking bow tie. I mean, he really did have like an Opie Cunningham. They made him look like fucking Howdy Doody. It was it's a weird fucking gimmick that he had.
Something else of note, Doink and the Dinks, they had a match against the royal family, Jerry Lawler, and he had some little people with him, I gotta say that. And the names, it was like Wheezy, Queasy, and Cheesy with Jerry Lawler against Doink, Dink, Pink, Stink, I don't know. But it's comical more than anything, man, because like they're stepping over Jerry Lawler. They're like doing all these like little people antics, and Jerry Lawler is the perfect person to have involved with this, man, because he's playing it up like, you little dummy, what are you
doing? Dude, this was the air like Doink and Dink. Is there a better combination of like big and small in the WWE, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, then we get some.
You want to talk about a fucking crazy backstory, like behind the scenes? I watched The Dark Side or some kind of thing about Doink. Jesus Christ, that's scary.
The real Doink, because at this point, I don't think this is the real Doink that they had, the original like Matt Bourne Doink. They've had about 2 or 3 guys play that role because Matt Bourne just wasn't going to work out, man. He was a hot mess. And this pay-per-view also had Chuck Norris. He was the ring enforcer. It was set in San Antonio, so of course we got to have Walker to hold the fort down. And in the main event, it was Yokozuna versus Undertaker in the casket match. Undertaker, he's got to get his get back, man. You and your homies jumped me in Royal Rumble this year, put me in that casket, and so this is the first time they're facing off. And so just in case anyone comes in, Chuck Norris is here to lay down the law. Jeff Jarrett was one of those people to interfere, and Chuck Norris gives him this mean roundhouse kick that sent his ass back to Tennessee.
Jeff Jarrett, dude, don't piss me off, slap nut. I love what is Walker Texas Ranger going to do to fucking Yokozuna, dude? He can't
nothing.
His belly, dude. He can't kick that.
Well, he's there to like keep the others out.
Oh,
It's
he's
just
there to make sure nobody else. So he's there watching the fucking backstage entrance. He ain't even paying attention to Yokozuna and them. Okay.
yeah, making
Is
sure it's a fair
JT
fight.
there or what? What's his boy's name?
Oh no, not his homie. Nah, he's not there.
Damn. Why not? You could add two for the price of one. But man, you had to get that Chuck Norris tie-in back in the day, Steve.
Especially in Texas. But also in '94, American wrestler Art Barr passes away at the age of 28 in Springfield, Oregon. Barr was found dead lying with his child at his home in Springfield. Now, Art Bart's, I almost said Bart Starr. Art Barr, he was a tag teammate of Eddie Guerrero, and he's responsible for the frog splash. Like, he called it something different. It was called the jackknife splash. And Two Court Scopio, he's like, man, you look like a frog when you do that. Hence the name Frog Splash. And that's why Eddie did it. He did it to as a call to like, hey man, this is my guy. He did that, and they came from the same school, and like bringing that lucha libre style of wrestling to America and popularized it, and that's what inspired the Rey Mysterios, the Juventudes, the Ultimo Dragons, and those kinds of guys, man.
Did he ever play anybody that the like public would know, or was this just like an unsung wrestling dude, like regional guy?
Well, he did go to WCW, but that stint was short lived. He played a wrestler named Beetlejuice. So he's more of an unsung guy.
Was the Beetlejuice like referencing the Beetlejuice that we all know and love, or
Somewhat. He had some face paint, but it wasn't exact replica of that Beetlejuice.
nice fucking model?
But
Sorry, shameless.
In 1996, November 23rd, Rebound, The Legend of Earl the Goat Manigoat premieres on HBO, and it's a dramatization of the life of Earl the Goat Manigoat, played by Don Cheadle, with a lot of factual-based occurrences. A reformed junkie returns from prison to clean up his act and devote the rest of his life to the young kids of Harlem. 1996 was the 25th anniversary of the first tournament named after him. Directed by Eric LaSalle, starring Don Cheadle, James Earl Jones, Michael Beach, Clarence Williams III, and Forrest Whitaker. But yeah, man, this was a good movie. It's
this was
available
an
on
HBO
YouTube.
movie, though.
Initially, yeah, it was on HBO, but it's available on YouTube. And Kevin Garnett's in the movie, and he plays Wilt Chamberlain. And bro, he looks like Kevin Garnett. Like, they didn't put any effort into because for one, he's a darker skin complexion guy, and Wilt Chamberlain was not. And like, I think, yeah, he also had a fro. Kevin Garnett never had a fro. That's my one gripe
in the movie.
No, Wilt Chamberlain was never bald.
No, but I'm saying in the movie, you said Kevin Garnett played him. Was Kevin Garnett bald in the movie? Did they try to zhuzh him up at all to make him look anything like the dude?
No, not at all. Because Kevin Garnett still had hair at this point. This is before he went bald. But like,
damn, I forgot about that level.
Yeah, he looked nothing like Wilt Chamberlain, man. But a good movie. I mean, it's got some stars and future stars. Don Cheadle. I mean, James Earl Jones, Clarence Williams III. But also in 1996, ECW is airing the Revere Show. The mass transit incident is what it's known as. And I'm only calling attention to the match with Devon Dudley and Mass Transit versus the Gangstas, New Jack and Mustafa. So this has been another infamous story in the wrestling pantheon where a 17-year-old, he got a fake wrestling license. He shows it to Paul Heyman, and the Gangstas were supposed to fight Devon and Axel Rotten. Axel Rotten couldn't make it because a family member had died. So they had to find a replacement. The 17-year-old named Eric Karras, I think his name is, he steps in and it gets really messy. He kind of pisses off some of the veteran wrestlers along the way. This is Eric behind me. Or no, yeah, he's getting actually slaughtered by New Jack. New Jack is the one standing up. You can't see, man, but it was brutal. And he he made the mistake of telling New Jack what he wants to do. And I guess that's a faux pas in wrestling. When you're a newbie, you do what the veterans tell you you're going to do. And so he's like, hey, man, my father's in attendance and I want to do this, that, and the third. And New Jack just like, no. And so Devon, he doesn't even know this guy. There's no chemistry or anything. And also the mass transit guy tells New Jack, like, I've never bladed myself. Can you do it for me? Which is another faux pas, especially if it's New Jack. He's
You're
like,
asking New Jack to do that for? Hey, man.
Yeah, I can do that. So
do that way more.
he beats the fuck out of mass transit. And it's one of those awkward moments where you know something is up. Because let's say your tag teammate is getting beat up like this. Devon doesn't stick around in the ring like, oh my God, he doesn't like try to protect him or nothing. Like the guy is just there. They're waiting for the EMTs to come in. And Devon's like, I'm gonna just go back to the locker room now. Bye.
Good luck
and
with that.
This guy, yeah, man, he was in no shape. Literally, he was in no shape to be getting in front of a ring. Think about how you were when you were 17. Like I think he might have still been in high school, and his dad was there, and he ended up taking ECW to court. He tried to sue them, and he tried to like do a civil thing and get money out of them. The guy Eric Curris, he would eventually die in 2002. And New Jack, he got arrested for this event, but he had a good lawyer. According to him, he had a really good lawyer that poked holes through Eric's arguments. Man, like you were a willing participant.
Damn, what the fuck was he thinking? Did he know who New Jack was?
He was a fan, so he's familiar. Like, and this was done in Boston. New Jack said that, like, man, when I came back, he was away from the game for a minute, but when he came back to Boston, people were cheering him because, for one, that's Boston and that's ECW for you.
Beat that fucking pussy, you fucking. What a crazy move for that guy. You think if he was going to do that he had some kind of skill, but this is just some fat ass dude that just decided to wrestle with fucking, I mean, pick anyone else. New Jack to me is is a guy that beyond all these, I know it happens in all wrestling. You do stiff moves, you do whatever. That guy, it seems like I've heard a lot of stories where that guy was just legit beating the living shit out of people with no regard at all, which happened here. So,
Oh, and he didn't give a fuck when this happened because as the EMTs are attending to mass transit, he puts his foot on his chest and on the microphone like, hey, man, get this motherfucker. I don't give a fuck about this shit. Get him out of here. And they continue to beat him up and thinking that this is like a work. Like, no, man, this is for real deal Holyfield.
You need to have some respect for wrestling. I like that, though. I like that they taught him a lesson. That's a good lesson to learn. I mean, I'm sorry. You said he's the guy that this happened to. He's dead, but that's not anything to do with this. I mean, he just died.
He died from bypass surgery, man. Gastric bypass. Yeah.
I mean, he was a big boy, I guess, but fucking A, dude. That's crazy.
I mean, yeah.
Get it together, dude. That's crazy. Well, you fuck around, you fucking poke the bear, Steve.
He found out.
There
was a Dark Side of the Ring on that incident.
I need to watch that. That sounds great. Anything New Jack related, the guy terrifies me. I know, rest in peace to the guy. I know he's dead now, but there was podcasts where like these comedians were fucking around with him, and he's cool, like he'll make you laugh, but the one guy's like, yo man, like clothesline me, and he's like, you sure about that? And the guy's like, yeah, clothesline me, dude, do it. I can't believe this. And he does it, Steve. He doesn't pull any fucking punch, and he's a fucking real deal dude, Steve. He's a wrestler, but
he's also a crazy motherfucker. Yeah. R.I.P. man. In 1997, WCW was airing the World War III pay-per-view, World War III 97. And this was when they have the 3 different rings, and it's like 60 guys in there at the same time.
Too much.
Yeah, I'm just calling attention to the Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero match. Like whenever those guys linked up, it's always going to be great chemistry, and they put on like a 5-star match. And that's not the only time they've done that. They faced each other countless numbers of times, man, in ECW and WCW, and this is one of those instances. During this match, the main event, Kevin Nash is expected to be there because this is the WCW versus NWO era that we're in, and he doesn't show up when everyone else comes out. All these guys come out one by one at the same time, unlike Royal Rumble. And towards the end of the match, Sting comes down from the rafters and he's fucking around with Hogan and the rest of NWO, but it's really Kevin Nash.
How did Sting got really tall? Sting is huge. This era Sting though, like it was cool, I guess, for a little bit, but when he was just like they're like he's up in the rafters and it's he dropped down on a rope and shit. It was kind of corny, but I love me some Sting. I can't really talk shit.
I stopped liking Sting when he went to the red and black NWO and he's like trying to be cool now and it's like, hey, what's up, yo? Ho! About it.
Right, guys? Yeah. Let me get that baseball bat real quick. It just was a weird. I'm a Surfer Sting guy, Steve. That's who I grew up with. So give me that Guile haircut and the weird neon shit. I'm into that.
With the rat tail. Yeah. But in 1999, Third Rock is airing season 5, episode 6. Dick Who's Coming to Dinner. The Solomons learn about racism. ...
Boy, do they! This show again is just comedic gold for us, Steve. We've covered it a bunch of times now, and this is another one. I think you mentioned it in our surprising shows that we like now.
Yeah.
This episode is absolutely insane. I can't believe that they even went through with this, but
they did it in a clever way, though.
Yeah, that's why I kind of think this is a genius show, because no matter what the subject matter is, it's from the point of view of aliens. So like, no matter what they're saying or doing, it's almost on that South Park level of they can say anything because they're aliens, you know, like they don't know any better, and they don't. They don't. Steve. They don't. Dick don't.
Now, in the beginning of the episode, Dick, he wants to go to Cafe de Boeuf or Cafe de Beef. And it's the 5th time this week. He loves that beef at Cafe de Beef. But Nina, she can't attend because she's going to the BSU, the Black Student Union. Dick wants to attend, but Nina tells him, like, you're not black. And he's just like, well, how black do I need to be? It's like,
you don't understand, man. And also, Dick, the reason he wants to go to this restaurant is not only just that they have a delicious steak, but he's got a 2-for-1 coupon. So I do love the fact that he's like, look, Nina, I got this 2-for-1 coupon. You go, this, that, and the other. We get a free steak out of it. And she's like, says whatever. And he's like, look, this coupon expires tonight. You're going to be black forever. But this coupon, this is gone after tonight. You got to do this. And then this just leads. Dick doesn't understand race at all, Steve. He doesn't get it. It's like, what black club? Why can't I go to the black club? Was there a white club possibly?
He's new to all of this, and he's like, what are they, and why don't I understand them?
He doesn't get it, Steve. He doesn't. But why should he? He's from Mermac or wherever the fuck. They don't got race there. They got weird blowholes and shit. I don't know.
And the Shat Man.
And then we cut to the credits, right? So I gotta say, if we can get right over this version of the song, I don't like this big band standard fucking like Star Spangled Banner shit. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But then we cut to the apartment again where everybody lives, and French Stewart's character, I forget his name at the moment, but
Harry.
I found out about this poetry contest at the public library. So he's trying to get everybody on board because there is a poetry contest, Steve. And it's about how we can change the world, and who better than some aliens to talk about that.
And they're on board because there'll be prizes. You might get a vacation. You might get a new car.
It's the public library. The sky's the limit. He's never been to a public library before, but yeah, French Stewart just looking like he smelled the worst fart of all time constantly. Um, and as we cut to that, we cut to the restaurant that they always go to, and he comes in, and I do like that everybody when they see Dick, they're like, "Oh my God, he's Dr. Solomon's coming! Look away!" Like
Check,
everybody,
please.
everybody in this episode just says that. But he comes in, and I don't remember this girl's name, but it's the one black girl that's in his class, and he's really trying to figure out this whole black thing, Steve.
Like, you're going to the Black Student Union? Okay. What do y'all talk about? Can you tell me anything about this? He's like, the lady's like, you're not black. And again, he's trying to figure like, how black do I need to be? Like, what, you're not even black. You're like a mocha tan. It's like, I'll tell you what happened on the Jeffersons.
But he chases that chick out of the restaurant, Steve, because he's going so ham. So Dick Solomon, whoever this man is or whatever the alien situation is, you're jeopardizing your job because you might be about to get shot the way you're going at some of these people. You know?
Yeah, and she runs out, so he sees the gang there. He's like, "Hey, tonight we need to go to the Black Student Union. We should go, but like, I don't know how to get in there. You know what? Maybe we have like, there's a white group we can attend." So we asked the bartender, "Hey, are there any white support groups, white people support groups here?" "Oh, you mean like the white supremacist group?" He's like, yeah, like something like that. Yeah. He's
Sounds
like,
great.
Yeah, and he tells them where they're at, and he's like, "By the way, you guys are just the biggest pieces of shit."
Make me
sick. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, they order, and he's like, "You make me sick," and Dick's like, "Oh well, if that's the case, then I'll take some mozzarella sticks." And stuff.
Yeah, because he thinks he's talking about them overeating. Yeah.
And so they go to a meeting, Steve. We see him at the meeting. They always see as the burning on their faces, but Dick's like, "This is kind of intense, guys." And what do they got against the lowercase t? Because they're really going pretty hard on that.
They really hate that letter. And I don't think Barry White would want to go here, because that's what the one lady was saying, the lady alien. I can't even, never remember her name, but she's just like, yeah.
No,
Sally. Yeah.
Yeah, Sally.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Barry White's going to be there. And she's like, yeah, I don't think he would want to go there. And so back at the student union, I guess this is, he talks to Nina, and he's like, "Did you go to the Black Student Union?" And she's like, "Yeah." "Was there a guy on the mic shouting unattractively?" "No." "Do people dress up in robes?" "No." "Oh, well, I was at this rally last night in Hendersonville." "You went to a white power rally? Because of you." Wait, what?
So, does Nina ever find out he's an alien? Because she doesn't know, but it's like, does this not like make her just want to leave the job at this point? Like, isn't this a lawsuit waiting to happen?
Well, she doesn't leave the job. And to your first question, I don't know. I know about as much of this show as you do.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Dick's just trying to figure out what's going on here. He can't go to a black club. When he goes to a white club, he gets vilified. We cut back to the apartment, and the Sally, French Stewart, and Handsome. I can't remember their fuck Tommy.
Tommy, yeah.
They're going over their plans for this poetry thing, Steve.
And Tommy's girlfriend is there. She's watching them as they're trying to flesh out this poem. And it's after they go to the white power rally that they like, our poem should be about racism, because French Stewart, Harry, he comes up with this statement that, like, we should live in a world where everyone can like coexist in peace and harmony. Oh my God. Those are profound words. That's her next poem. That's her poem. So now they're at the house, and they're like, "What rhymes with racism?" Wait station, PlayStation. Racism is as bad as claymation. You know what? Yeah, we don't have to rhyme in these poems. So
I kind of like that, honestly. When it came out, when you said it, Steve, I like that.
And so now Dick is in his class, And he just gives one copy of the exam to a student. He's like, yeah, just pass it around. My assistant, Nina, she refuses to make any copies. So the other student from the BSU, she's like, well, did you accuse her of not being black enough?
Well, she's not black enough. He just keeps putting his foot in his mouth. He turns it into like a racial dialogue too, where it's just like, how, like, if somebody came in here, they'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? There's about to be a mass fucking murder in this class.
But Matt, all he did was go to a white power rally, and they're like, oh, you went to a white power rally? Well, so the other student, she says, like, do you have any black friends? Well, I have Nina. She works for you. Well, I have you. I'm your student. Well, Al Roker. He's on TV. He's on TV? Well, I gotta go see.
He just rushes out of the class. Yeah, so he's been now he's sort of like learning something here. So we cut to his office, and he's like, look, Nina, I fucked up. I'm so sorry. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, he kind of like, well, he must have learned his lesson. He's like, I've been just holding you back. I'm going to do what I should have done a long time ago. You're at a subservient job here. You got nowhere to go. So you're fired. What? Spread your wings and fly, Nina. Fucking what?
And he has a conversation with the crew about like, why did we decide to be white? Like, oh, well, the channel that we had, the One Signal, the show we were watching, it was filmed with white people. And, you know, it had that nerdy guy with his pants hiked up and the suspenders, you know.
That was the one black dude they ever saw, because that's the point they make. They kind of make like a subtle nod to Hollywood, where they're like, well, all the signals that we pulled from Earth, it was just white people. So we didn't even know. We didn't know there was this rainbow of colors, this skittle bag of colors we could have been. Nice.
So his plan is, I'm going to revitalize the urban education system and $1 billion black scholarship. And then we will hang out with that Sean Puffy Combs fellow extensively.
Kind of going to get straight. If you don't make it, don't come to 2023, Dick. But I mean, he wants to do all this, Steve. But then fucking Tommy's like, yeah, but that's against our mission. We can't change anything. He's like, oh. Still, though, kind of want to hang out with Puffy. Maybe we can make that happen.
Take that. No, they're at the poetry contest, and the first person is a little girl, and she has a poem for her mom. And apparently, she didn't want to change the world. I think that's what Harry said, or maybe Sally.
I like they're talking shit to bad poem. Bad fucking poem.
That poem sucks. So they asked one of the librarians about what's going on, and she said, like, aren't y'all too old for this? And they say, like, aren't you too sucking into ageism?
You don't want to hear the message. What are you afraid of? What we're going to tell people? We're going to tell people the truth. And then it goes deaf poetry, JM Steve.
If we could change the world, racism is here. Stop racism. Stop racism. Never again should a Cherokee man board a commercial plane and be afraid of the cowboy pilot taking everyone out. And we will mix the whites with the colors. One world, one load.
Racism.
Racism.
I don't think they won the contest, though, Steve. In fact, they don't. Little Sally did with her bike poem or whatever the fuck it was, the bad poem. So then we get, Dick has now alienated everybody, anybody that's not his immediate family or whatever, any black person in his world's gone. So what do you do, Steve? You follow Nina to her church, where her and this church, they're doing, the black church thing. They're going at it. They're singing a hymn. It's beautiful. But
that's what they all do in these situations.
And then I love this, Steve. This is how Dick Solomon gets back in the good graces. He hijacks the whole thing, plays an organ like a motherfucker, and then starts doing his impersonation of a black him. And I don't know. I feel like this might get your ass whooped, but he nails it. They love it.
Oh my God. He's like, he said he chose a white body. Nobody told him. Tell me why I can't be good in spite of my color. Tell me I can be good, Nina. Tell me I'm your friend. Tell me you love me. Tell me I'm your savior. And they're like,
That was a little too far.
oh,
That's where the pipe organ stops. The record scratch stops there. But for a solid minute, I mean, he had the fucking choir in on the shit. You can be good, Dick Solomon, some shit like that. I mean, they were going for it, Steve.
hey, this method worked for Donald Sterling. So shit, why not?
But I don't know. I don't know what happens after this. Nina just kind of slinks off out of the church. She's like, "Thank you so much, y'all. I gotta go." I don't know this motherfucker.
Yeah. Now and then at the end, we're on the roof. That's the way most of these episodes end, and they come to the conclusion that hey, nobody's superior. Everyone's just different. And then I think it was Tommy. He says like, sure, like we're not better than human beings. This is an American. Can I get cheese on that?
And then they go back into the song, Steve. They do a 4-person fucking whatever quartet of just whatever that song was. What is it? I forget. I had the name of it. Maybe God is trying to tell you something, Steve.
Maybe God is. But they ended in an electrical way. I like this ending.
I mean, Tommy is given like a real soul. He's like, ah! He's trying to Mariah Carey the shit. I gotta respect that.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Sanaya Lathan. But also in 1999, Nas releases Nostradamus. And this isn't one of the most sought after of his discography, man, but it's got some album joints. And it also has a cameo from your boy, Ronald Isley. Mr. Big, man.
Gotta rest in peace. But Nostradamus.
He's alive.
Oh wait, is he? Wait, which Isley
Killed
brother
him,
died then?
It was his brother that I think he was either the bassist or the guitarist. Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I see. Well, then I thought Ronald Isley was gone. I'd given up.
Let's give
I
him
still
time.
have time. I still have time to listen to Beneath the Sheets live in person, I guess. But this was like I'm not the biggest Nas fan, Steve, but this one, I mean, this was like his biggest album, I like commercially, I feel like, right? No?
Well, this is the one with the genuine song. Shorty, say what's your price? Just to back it up, you can hold my eyes. Now you say it's more something, yeah. Only back like yeah.
But
But
Nostradamus, that song is hot. That actual song, like the title track, that shit is fire as fuck.
That is hot. But Illmatic, I think that's the most successful one because it follows that same pattern. Where it's got the landscape of a Queensboro and it's him, a picture of him superimposed on it. But Illmatic did the same thing, but it's him with like when he was a kid. He did that at least like 3 or 4 times. I think he did that in Stillmatic and I Am maybe, but yeah, Nostradamus, man, it's got some tracks that I added to the playlist. But also in '99, Metallica releases S&M, and god damn it, fuck Mary Kill. This album bangs, man. Like I do not give a fuck about opera or symphony. Usually when that shit is mentioned, it's a snooze fest. But when you throw in some Metallica, man, you can't go wrong. Like the fact that they had the audience chanting the lyrics mixed with it has that symphony vibe because it's I think it's the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra or something like that. And the only release I think that was new was No Leaf Clover, and that shit will forever go hard. It's just a train coming here, yeah. Then it comes a bee and the silver line at the end of your tunnel. It's just a freight train coming your way. Hell yeah. It's coming
Yeah.
away. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. Like we've talking about having sex to a Korn album. Like that's a song, that's a Metallica song to try to hump to. Dun 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 dun.
That's like some American Psycho sex. I feel like, yeah, you're definitely flexing in the mirror during that sesh. But are you okay, Steve? You need a banana or something?
Don't touch me, bitch. Okay.
What have they not done? I mean, damn, Metallica, they played in Russia. They played fucking with helicopters, rioting and shit. They did this. I mean, these people. I was again. I've said this all the times we talk about Metallica. I wasn't the Metallica guy. I had a friend who was the ultimate. Like he loved everything Metallica. So I've heard it all, and I do remember this. But they're just a fucking legendary band, dude. I love the idea of James Hetfield playing with an orchestra. It just is insane.
It's dope. And I feel like he customed his performance to this, to cater to this, man, because like it's around this time he started doing that guttural, but at the same time melodic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like Tim Allen-ish, but at the same time Pavarotti-ish. And these guys, yeah, they didn't create metal, but Michael Jordan didn't create basketball, damn it. And that's where I'm at with Metallica. I love me some James Hetfield, man, and Lars and Kirk Hammett and Jason Newsted. That's my favorite rendition of Metallica. And like from beginning to end, if you like Metallica, you're gonna love this album, man. Like they played all the hits.
Wonder how much a ticket to that show was. That's insane, dude. To get to hear every Metallica hit with an orchestra back, that's pretty fucking nuts.
And speaking of collections, on that same day in '99, Beastie Boys released The Sounds of Science. And I bought this compilation, man, because I'm a Beastie Boys fanatic. And dude, if you want to do a crash course in beastiedom, damn, that sounds like a porn genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to do a crash course on Beastie Boys, let's just say that.
Even that sounds kind
of science.
Suspect, but
Yeah, that didn't help either, did it? Yeah, Sounds of Science. Goddamn it! It's got all the tracks from Sabotage to Root Down, Sure Shot, Fight for Your Right. But the release that they had from this was Alive. Dip dip dive, so alive. Keeping.
clean up your eyes. Hell yeah. I mean, I didn't buy this. I kind of was like off and on with Beastie Boys, but this is a good one to get all those hits off of, because then they did that to the Five Boroughs album like when we were in college.
After that, yeah.
But I mean, these guys are legends, dude. Rest in peace to the ones that are dead. But
MCA.
hell yeah, dude. And they just had it was like, I don't know, man. I remember like those MTV, like they had, it's crazy, like the sort of flip that they did in their personality. They were like party guys, like bros. And then they sort of got political and shit, like when they got older. And so they just got older. I think that's just sort of a natural progression. But I always thought that was weird because I remember it's like, these are the fucking party dudes throwing pies in a fucking, like that one video. They're just like acting lunatic, like the Sabotage video too, just how wacky it was. And then it kind of changed a little bit, but I don't know where I was going with that.
That's natural though. They just became men. You know, like they were known for the slapstick and the partying albums in the '80s, and then they got to a point where it's like, man, I think MCA even had a line where it's like, man, I want to show love and respect to the ladies, and like, you know, like, hey, man, like that was our past. We're still dope artists, man, and they evolved. These are some like hip hop. This is a hip hop act that evolved, and when we saw it in real time, they went from like solely rapping like that sophomore kind of content and to doing like some jazz kind of albums on some of their albums, man. Paul's Boutique is like critiqued like 5 stars, man, like one of their best works. And like it was a deviation from their previous efforts, man. But yeah, legends in the game, Hall of Fame inductees, rightfully so. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways?
I'm just gonna keep pointing it out because I keep doing it, just so everyone knows to check it out if they're into it. Uh, we keep watching the Frasier reboot show, and it's getting better every week, Steve. So I just keep encouraging people, go check it out. It's a '90s icon. Kelsey Grammer's a legend, getting a bunch of shine now. So they even brought him back in a Marvel movie as Beast, which I love to see. But check out that Frasier reboot, Steve. And also, we watched Space Jam again, just randomly, just felt like it. And I fuck the new shit, erase that from the history books because that old Space Jam, it's just unexpectedly just so fucking fun. It even has Bill Murray in it. You even get a Bill Murray like join in it, but what's the fat guy's name?
Wayne Knight.
Wayne Knight, love him in it, and we get even Danny DeVito killing it in that too. The whole shit. These '90s movies we're talking about, you go back, you watch some of them. That one, it's still just so fucking fun. It stands the test of time.
I agree, man. I is it available? It's on Paramount, right?
Yeah, I think that's where we watched it on. We have so many fucking goddamn apps now. I don't know. It might have been on Max, but I was just like I don't know. Sometimes you go. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's still good. Don't worry. MJ killed it.
And the only thing I got, man, once again, SNL related. In 1991, we had the Culkster hosting SNL with musical guest Tin Machine. And, overall, it wasn't the greatest episode because he was a kid. And in his opening monologue, you can tell he was nervous because he was like zipping his zipper in this clip right here, man. He was zipping his zipper up and down. It's like, man, the kid is what I think 10 at the time, might have been 9 or 10, and he was there to promote My Girl. Home Alone had released already, so he's already known. Like it was dropped like that previous year, and I like the opening monologue or the code open because they do a callback to Home Alone where everyone ate his cheese pizza. His cheese pizza's gone. Farley, he does the Buzz line. The only way you're going to get it back is if it's all barfed up. And then he starts gagging, and then he pushes them, and then Farley does one of his mankind falls through a table. That's great. He's just like, I just wish I could do the show by myself. And Lauren takes him aside. He's like, okay, be careful what you wish for, kid. And so Lauren, he's on the plane with Rob Schneider sitting next to him. He's like, man, I feel like I forgot something. Like, so it's like, oh shit, Macaulay. And so Macaulay at the beginning of the at the beginning of the monologue, he comes out to an empty crowd and he's just going through the studio. He's putting on the cone head. He's playing with the instruments from the G.E. Smith and the Saturday Night Live band. He's playing Super Mario Brothers 3, which I appreciate. He's in the back and it's got like Mario Brothers on every screen. It's just very 90s centric, man. But like that's the main thing that I like from this episode. And then they did a Mike Myers Simon skit, which was pretty funny. Well, my name is Simon, and I'm on the. You don't remember that one?
What did he do? Did he draw shit?
I made drawings, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And he would be sitting. Yeah, he's sitting in the tub, and it's him and Macaulay, which you probably couldn't get away with now with these like pedos out here and shit. But yeah.
He's just
I'd be rambling.
He's just in a bathtub with Macaulay. That's not cool, but anywho.
Yeah. But in 91, it was like, yeah, we didn't bat an eye at it, man. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Tell your little sister that when I met her last night, before she opened up her gap, I had respect for the lady. But now I take it all back, 'cause she gave me all to say. Didn't even lick my balls. All right. Check out Food Show Fanatics. Yeah, I'm trying to monitor and do better about that whole profanatory thing. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, and comment, and check out Food Show Fanatics as well as Crushgasm on Wednesdays. This is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s.
In the 90s, baby.
I have a little bit of, let me do this again.
Oh, it's live, Hal.
Sorry.